Hey everybody, welcome to Comics CC Studio. I am your host Brent, and today I've got a special YouTube Live talking about the Summer of Supergirl, and it's actually written by several artists, well, drawn by several artists and written by several artists. And yeah, so the first story, let me get here to the last page. Let's see here. So I'm still new to this whole live thing, so you'll have to forgive me. They say that when you're doing YouTube, you should just start, right? Because you learn along the way and you get better. So the first story, written by Sophie Campbell. Baleen Ortega, maybe, is the artist and cover artist, and the colorist. Triona Farrell. Becca Carey, the letterer. And then there's some other people in there, but wanted to give them credit. So the story is that Lobo and Supergirl, the very first story of this, written by Sophie Campbell, excuse me, they are in trouble. And basically, there's a judge telling them, like, what you've got to do. So they go back and forth a little bit, and Lobo and Supergirl, and Lobo's like, it's all her fault. Supergirl's like, well, that's actually not true. Let me tell you what really happened. It was kind of both of our faults. But either way, Lobo gets basically put on probation at a planet's basically to community service, and Supergirl is like, okay, well, you get Crypto takes care of the dog. So Supergirl gets Lobo's dog, and Lobo is actually, doing his community service. Well, then, then there's some shenanigans. Supergirl is helping a lady out, and then Streaky the Super Cat comes up, and Lobo's dog, I think his name is actually just Dog, if I remember right, starts to chase Streaky the cat. Here you go, right here. He sees the cat, and he's like, uh-oh, so that sets him off. So then eventually, Lobo comes back, and so this is pretty great as well. See there, kinda. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so Lobo comes back to get his dog, and his dog's upset with him, and then he's like, Lobo gets mad at Supergirl. They start fighting, and they're going back and forth, and Supergirl's like, she's basically about to drop a car on Lobo. And then she has this realization, like, wait a minute, that's not who I am. That's not Supergirl. Of course, there's all these people there kind of watching, like, what in the world? So she has a little bit of a change of heart, kind of that Woman of Tomorrow roughness. She's like, you're not coming in my town, Lobo, and destroying things here. So she essentially, but then she picks up his car. She's about to slam him. He's like, I just want my dog. But she's like, all right, well, you know what? This isn't right. This isn't who I am. This is not Supergirl. So Kara, or Kara, however you want to say it. She goes and gets the dog a treat, gives it to Lobo, and then eventually him and his dog kind of reconcile, and then he's like, oh, but he still has to do his community service because he destroyed, him and Supergirl destroyed all this property. So it's really him and her working together to kind of fix, I guess it's Midvale. So they're fixing Midvale, and he helps her out. So just kind of a fun story. Of course, the movie has Lobo and Supergirl in it, and this is kind of another story. And apparently Lobo has a daughter. I did not know this, but I'm not a huge Lobo fan either, so I'm like, oh, he's got a daughter. And there's also like a female shark alien thing in there as well, part of the story. And yeah, just a fun story about Supergirl, Lobo, and pets as well. And so she's like, you know what, Lobo, maybe we're not all that different after all, even though they are kind of different. But so he basically goes, does his community service, kind of comes back for his dog, sets off again in a Lobo fashion, I suppose. And starts wreaking havoc on the town. Supergirl gets really angry at him and about to just bash him or whatever. And then she's like, you know what, I can't do this. So then she helps Lobo get his dog's attention back. And after that, you'll have to pick it up, but it's a great story. But one of the main stories that I wanted to highlight was the second story, and it is written by, I believe, Gail Simone. Emma Kubert is the artist, and it is an amazing story of family of Supergirl and Miss Marvel, who is also, or I don't know, no, Mary Marvel. I'm sorry, not Miss Marvel, Mary Marvel, who is modern day translation, we call him Shazam, but he was actually in the comics known as Captain Marvel. So this is his sister. They're an adopted family, or a foster situation rather. And the story starts out, there's these ex-Luthor employees that got let go or fired or something, and they've got this robot that they're essentially like, look, we might as well make use of the technology that we know how to use. And I forget their motivation, but I feel like this first part is just kind of a piece to really get Supergirl and Mary Marvel to work together, Captain Marvel's sister, through their foster family. And yeah, it's a great story because Supergirl is she's coming to fight this robot that's kind of on the loose, and then the robot has like, I think it has some form of synthetic kryptonite or something. So basically the robot has her, and then this girl gets off the bus, and I don't even know why she was there, to be fair, but anyways, regardless, so Mary gets off the bus, and Supergirl's like, run, and she's like, run, she's like, obviously no. So she says Shazam. Well, as she says Shazam, the robot actually does some DNA thing, and essentially the lightning, instead of going to Mary, comes to the robot, and now the robot has the Shazam powers. But in that time, I think Supergirl gets free, and then, of course, Mary's now running from the robot because she's not powered up or whatever, if you will. And then she's like, she's going to say it again. So then she's like, Shazam. Well, instead of the lightning hitting the robot again, it transfers off. It's actually kind of cool. It hits Supergirl's cape and goes to Mary. And then now she's, let me see here. Here it is. Yeah, so here she is. Yeah, great art. Like, okay, it worked that time because Supergirl, I don't know if you could see here, it hit Supergirl's cape and then hits Mary. And then it's funny, the robot says prediction unit is screwed. Supergirl says darn right, and then Mary says holy moly, it's a team up. And yeah, so but I feel like that's a great scene, right? Those two fighting together. I'm wondering if they've ever, if mentioned in the comics, has Mary Marvel and Shazam's sister, as well as Supergirl, have they ever teamed up? This could be their first team up. But it's a really nice kind of introduction because then they're able to kind of go on this journey, talking about their own journeys and feeling like they were alone and being overshadowed by Mary being overshadowed by Captain Marvel, aka Shazam or Billy Batson, and Supergirl being overshadowed by Superman, even though those people love them. It's like the people that love us the most, we feel overshadowed by. And like when they first meet, Supergirl's like, oh, you probably mean like you're a big fan of my cousin. Everybody is. And she's like, no, I'm a fan of you. And they form this almost sisterly bond. Now, I'm not a woman, so I can't speak to that, other than to say the story in and of itself it's just a really good story about, even at the end, it's dedicated to like foster families, those kids that were adopted, hoping people find their families. So I would say hats off to Gail Simone, as she really tells a great story about a relationship between two people. In this case, it is Supergirl and Mary Marvel as well. But really, that could apply to anybody that's looking for a family, right? And she's like, I hope you find your family. So it's a really great issue. And in the back is a story where Mark Waid, holy cow, like this was an enjoyable comic. So I will just say, if you've not picked it up and you've wondered about it, Go pick it up. It's worth the read. Even I would say if you're not a comic fan but you like to read, go pick this up because I feel like the stories in here. The first one you may or may not enjoy, but I feel like the second one and the last, well, I will give a disclaimer. The second one is probably the most relatable, whether you like comics or not. The first one and the last one are going to be a little bit harder to follow if you don't know anything about comics or Supergirl. But if you do, or if you know a little bit, like they go through like so many things about Supergirl's history, Mark Waid does, and kind of like weaves them all together in a way that you're just like, it's a beautiful tapestry of things. And I'm not going to spoil, jumping back to the middle issue, I'm not going to spoil that, but there's something that Supergirl says in the middle, or well, actually at the end. It just so, I'm like, Gail Simone, like, she nailed that line. Like, I read the line, I read what Supergirl finished saying after that line, subsequent line at the end of the book, and I'm like, this is awesome. And I'm not the biggest Supergirl fan, but it doesn't matter. I know enough about the character to know that this was just a blast. And so I would highly recommend it. You've got Supergirl and Lobo, like more of that with the movie. But also you get a second story of Shazam in our modern day, Billy Batson's sister, foster sister, and Supergirl teaming up, and then that forming that relationship, and that's really awesome. And then also at the very end, if you know anything about Supergirl and it felt like, man, this character's had a lot of different iterations over the years, Mark Waid beautifully ties together this stuff. So I highly recommend it. I think you should check it out. And then also, of course, if you have not seen it, this is the back advertisement. Supergirl with Millie Alcock, and go see it in theaters. Support this film. I think it's great. I actually initially gave it a higher review than Superman coming out. And that doesn't mean I'm more of a Supergirl fan than Superman fan. It just means my experience coming out, I felt a little bit better coming out of the theater. So I highly recommend this comic. Go pick it up. You will not regret it if you like comics. Even if you don't like comics and you want a good story, the second story is worth the price of admission. Let's see. I can even tell you I got it in the USA, $5.99 at my comic shop. So that's how much, assuming you'll pay at your comic shop. I can't speak to anywhere else like overseas, the UK or things like that. But I could just speak to America, and $5.99 price of admission, worth it. Check it out. Even if you're not a huge Supergirl fan, I think if you're a family person or are looking for your family or want to find your family, I think even, or you've wanted that even, and you maybe haven't had that, I think the second issue will really hit home for you. I mean, it did for me, and my growing up was not bad by any stretch of the imaginations. We had a pretty good family growing up, pretty good, relationships growing up, things like that. It wasn't like estranged, but it still really just resonated the feeling of togetherness and family that they were able to portray. Gail Simone was able to portray, as well as the artists. So very good book. Pick it up. Supergirl, Summer of Supergirl special. I highly recommend it. And for Comics CC Studio, also I just want to mention, if you are tired of being alone and reading your comics, right? We go to our comic stores, we pick up the comic books, we read them, and then we go home, and maybe our spouse or partner or brothers and sisters or whomever or our parents, maybe none of them are really into comics, and so we're like, man, who do I talk to, right, about this awesome comic? Well, you can come over to my Patreon, and we're building a home for those that love comics, cosplays, and conventions as well. That, yeah, if you're tired of being alone and you're like, I want somebody to talk to, or I want to be a part of a community, join my Patreon and get the benefits of, extra podcasts right now where I'm going live through Zoom. I did a live over specifically through Patreon because right now YouTube isn't big enough yet to do YouTube lives. It will be. But until I get to that point, check out Patreon as well, and we'll have some chats as well, maybe even do some like book discussions of books like this where you get to make your voice heard as well, possibly even be on the podcast. So there's a lot of great benefits to joining this community for you. Free stuff as well. I've been thinking about that as well. I've got some copies of Birthright single issues as well as trade paperbacks I would love to be able to give away. And yeah, so maybe the first person that signs up, special things on Patreon as well. We're going to build a community of comics, cosplays, and conventions, and talking about these things and being part of a community so that when a con ends, you're part of a community, you're part of a home, you're part of people that really are like-minded, and we're like, oh, we can continue the conversation all year long. I don't just have to go to a convention to see all my friends. Like, I've got my friends in this community as well. So check that out if you're interested. If not, that's okay. So I hope you all have a great day. Thank you for joining me. This is Brent for Comics CC Studio. I will CC you later. And as always, just remember, stay super. God bless.